So Fire Brigade of Flames chapter 0 if I'm correct. Now I was kind of anticipating this one simply because it's from the same creator as Soul Eater, and I kind of enjoyed Soul Eater for the most part. I only really seen the anime, I didn't really follow the manga, but I was like, well, you know, giving this a try, why not? I mean, a legendary mangaka coming with the second round of what he's got to give. Let's see how it goes, and this is actually supposed to be a weekly series as well. So for the most part, from what I gathered off this first chapter, it seems as though it's kind of like trying to be like a firefighter manga, but with a bunch of fantasy elements, kind of like a Soul Eater or whatever. And I see a lot of elements that do remind me of Soul Eater. Like a lot of the character designs kind of look similar to Soul Eater characters, which is fine because a lot of mangaka, they have that distinct look with their characters. So even though they try to change it up, they still come out looking like, you know, some of the previous characters, but it definitely looked a lot like, you know, Soul Eater characters. But some of the things as well, I was kind of like, so it's something to do with souls yet again, but instead of like trying to eat them or whatever, this one is trying to save souls. So yeah, with Fire Brigade of Flames, it's kind of like somewhat reminiscent of Soul Eater to a certain degree with a lot of the aspects that were included in the first chapter. And the main character, to be honest with you, I felt as though, and with majority of this chapter, it felt like I've seen a lot of this before. Like, to be honest with you, with this first chapter, it just felt like it wasn't really breaking any new ground. Like, the main character just immediately, as many times as he said, I want to be a hero, I want to be a hero, it reminded me of like Deku from Boku no Hero Academia. It's like, bro, Deku said it first, alright? And in this world, basically, people burst into flames and combustion, and there's 3 different generations of people. There's the people that they completely burst into flames and they have no control, they become monsters. Then there's the people that can manipulate the flames, but they can't actually make them. And then there's people that can actually use them as powers or whatever, like the main character. But in all of the chapter, honestly, for the most part, it felt very generic, like things I've seen and read before. The best thing about it was the backstory of the main character, which again was stuff that I've seen already or whatever, or similar aspects, whatnot, with pretty much his family dying due to some combustion being, and he's being blamed for it, but ultimately there was another monster there that night. And my own little speculation already was maybe the baby that was there, his little brother, was the actual monster that killed everyone and they just didn't realize it or whatever. But yeah, to be honest with you, with this first chapter, I wasn't too enthusiastic about it because it just felt like a lot of things that I've seen before and it didn't really cover new ground. Like, I'm not expecting to be everything gotta be absolutely over the top with the first chapter, but I mean, it was just kind of like a setup chapter and giving you a little bit of the world and exposition into the characters. And this is one of those manga where, to be honest with you, I'm going to wait like 20-30 chapters before I come back to it, simply because like if the first chapter really didn't grab me, nowadays it's gotta be like, you know, times has changed, times is quick. It's like you gotta grab me in that first chapter to make me really want to keep going, and it really didn't. Some of the characters, to be honest with you, I was kind of like, why the fuck are they even there? There's like people that don't even have power, so what the fuck are they gonna do, just jumping in there and praying while people are actually fighting? That's not gonna really help in the current situation right now. I'm not saying anything about prayer not working, so before all the religious people attack me, no, that's not what I mean. But I mean, like, on a battlefield, you don't bring a fucking nun. Like, that's like if the cops go and try to arrest people while a nun prays on the floor. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do? And his reasoning for wanting to be a hero, basically wanting to erase his past and kind of be looked at as like, you know, a better person or whatnot, it was okay. And to be honest with you, that's what I felt for the majority of this chapter. I just felt like it was okay. I've seen it. Oh, it's reminiscent of Soul Eater, but it really didn't grab my attention. Let me know what you guys think though. If you've read it before, what did you think of this first chapter? Do you see potential in it? I will say, like, maybe to a certain degree, I enjoyed certain aspects of this first chapter more than like the first chapter of Soul Eater, but as a whole, the concept, it just kind of seems like a fantasy firefighter manga, which it's cool in that regard, but it didn't come swinging in with this first chapter. So I'd say for this first chapter, I'd give it anywhere from a 6 to a 6.5. Again, I'm not going to be reading this weekly, but I will check it up again maybe in like 20 to 30 chapters from now to see if it's changed and it's gotten any grander, which hopefully with some of the world building they did in this chapter, they could do some great things later on down the road. And your overall thoughts of this, again, if you haven't read it, what do you think? If you have read it, do you agree with me to a certain degree or disagree? Just let me know. So that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.